This is Irn Bru. Everywhere in the world, Coca-Cola is the most popular soda, they say, except for in Scotland, where it's Irn Bru, which is true. Irn Bru is the most popular soda in Scotland, and in fact, it comes from Scotland. It's not like some weird case where, like, they adopted some soda from some other place. No, it's a Scottish original, and it is famously weird. I've been challenged to try it many times in the comments, and I've really been looking forward to it. I've never had it before. I've been told this is very divisive. Now, caveats. I love Moxie. I think the Moxie soda and the episode I did on it was a lot of fun. I also really like Beverly, which is available only at Epcot and the Coke Museum in Atlanta, except for very soon here. I'm going to be making my own version of it, both of which are famously divisive. They're famous for being hated. They're famous for being loved, but by a special crew of people. And I believe that Irn Bru is very similar in that I think it's very famous for being loved by the Scotch and by very few other people. I don't know what else to say except that it's supposed to be weird, and here we go. Oh, I should give you this. United Kingdom. You guys have strange labels to my eye. I don't know what that means. It has 264 kilojoules of energy. Oh, calories? I don't know. It's got no fat. It's got no saturates. It's 15 grams of sugar in a 330 milliliter can, which my math suggests is 4.5%, but I feel like I'm doing my math wrong today. So we're gonna let the text on the screen tell us how much percentage that is. I don't know. I can't figure that out right now. Here we go. Irn Bru. Should I drink it from the can? No. Let us be refined and civilized. This stuff is orange. That is Tang orange. Look at that. I mean, it is genuinely the same color as the can. I'm impressed. Here we go. Irn Bru. It tastes like bubblegum. That's weird. It's not nearly as weird as people said it was gonna be, but I am surprised it's as popular as it is. It tastes like bubblegum. And actually, it's funny. It kind of reminds me of Fentimans makes a dandelion and burdock soda. This kind of reminds me of that. It does have a slightly bitey aftertaste. There's no way that's 4% sugar. My math is off. That's gotta be 10 or plus % sugar. That's pretty sweet. I like it. It's quite bubblegummy though. It's very bubblegummy. That is the main tasting note that I get from it. I don't know if they sell different bubblegum in Scotland, and that in Scotland, if you grew up in Scotland, maybe you would say, no, that doesn't taste like bubblegum. That tastes like whatever. But to me, it tastes bubblegummy. So the other two sodas I mentioned that people famously don't love, Beverly, Moxie, if you've had either of those, this doesn't really compare. It's not the same category of soda. This is more citrus bubblegum without any bittering agents. I don't think there's any bitter notes in here at all, whereas both Beverly and Moxie have at least gentian as a bittering agent. That definitely isn't here. Let's see if the ingredients yield any answers. Carbonated water, sugar, acid, citric acid, flavorings, including caffeine, ammonium ferric citrate, and quinine. So I believe that. I was saying it doesn't have any bitterness to it, and it doesn't have that kind of rooty bitterness, but there is like a bite to it that I think could be the caffeine and the quinine, which have, depending on how much you use, much more mild bitterness than something like a gentian. Quinine can be very bitter. Tonic water is very bitter. This tastes more like that than gentian would, which is a different kind of bitter, whatever. I just know people are correcting me. Quinine's bitter. I know. Let's see here. Sweeteners, aspartame. So it's interesting. It's got sugar and aspartame and asulfam K. It's got some preservative. It's got sunset yellow, FCF, and ponsu 4R, which are coloring agents. Sunset yellow and ponsu may have adverse effect on activity and attention in children. So there's probably really, it's yellow 5 and red 40 in mix. They use different names for those in Europe. Contains a source of phenylalanine. Some people seem to be concerned about that. I don't know if that's a real concern or not. Anyway, there it is, a kind of bubblegummy soda. And so now the question is, what can I do with it? Can I make cocktails with it? It does have a kind of a throaty bit of tang to it. I bet there are things that people already mix this with in Scotland. One thinks Scotch, or maybe that's the kind of thing that gets you shot there. No, you can't do that in Scotland, actually. You can mix gin with it, but not Scotch. And yet I feel like I have to, right? With something like this, you know, trying to decode what to do with this, it's bubblegummy. I don't know what to do with something that tastes bubblegummy. That's kind of a weird flavor profile to work with, in my opinion, for a cocktail. I have had bourbons that contain bubblegum notes, so perhaps what we can do with Irn Bru is something like a whiskey sour. But I'm kind of just interested in starting to mix it with spirits and seeing how it responds to, you know, alcohol. So let's see what happens when I put some Johnny Walker with some Irn Bru. Let's just see what happens. 1.5 ounces. Let's do a 2 to 1. That was 1.5 ounces of our Scotch, so I need 3 ounces of Irn Bru. Trying to think about how I might do a Billy Connolly later. He's very high pitched comparatively, quite musical, and a little bit breathy. And he's very exasperated whenever he's performing. It's probably a conversational Billy Connolly that sounds quite different. But this is just Irn Bru and Scotch. The Irn Bru is not really bringing much to the table here at that ratio. Maybe we just turn it into a full-blown highball and kind of like double that up. It's interesting. It does bring out some parts of the Johnny Walker, the peanutty parts that I'm not used to finding in a Scotch. Very sweet highball. No, I don't think that works. I don't think that works, and I don't think that's gonna work. Huh. I mean, like, Moxie mixes really well. It has such a potency to its flavor. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to do the same stuff here with Irn Bru. Let's try it with gin. I think that gin's gonna complement this a lot better. I think once again, I'm gonna start with a 2 to 1 ratio. 1.5 ounces of gin, London Dry, 3 ounces of our Irn Bru, 3 ounces of Irn Bru. Let's try it at equal measures. Oh yeah, okay. Much more interesting. That's 2 to 1. I'm gonna go 2.5 to 1. Another ounce, so 4 ounces. Pretty nice. I mean, I know I'm gonna get to a description here. Twist of lemon. Toss that in there. All right, here we go. An Irn Bru and gin. I have no name for this. Okay, so that's pretty good. That ratio, you get quite a bit of gin, which is divisive. Not everybody loves gin. You get those piney, junipery notes, and Tanqueray is a pretty brash gin, to be honest. It's gin. It's not some kind of an herbal gin or whatever. It's just London Dry gin. And honestly, I think it's the one to use. It's the benchmark for cocktails that call for gin. A cocktail calls for a London Dry gin. Tanqueray is probably what it means. So you get a lot of that, and then you get this moderated sweetness that comes out of the Irn Bru. It's not very loud. It's pretty subtle, actually. It's like just rounding the edges off of the gin with these bubblegummy notes. And what's interesting is that lemon twist on there really ties the room together. The lemon twist brings somehow some of the sweetness from the Irn Bru up a bit. Let me taste that again, see if I can verbalize this better. You actually get lemon on the nose, of course. Then we get some gin, then we get the bubblegummy notes. I actually think that the combination of the gin and the Irn Bru is waking up some of the bitter, quite bitter parts of the Irn Bru. The whole thing is not so bad. Do I like it better than a gin and tonic? I do not. Of course, gin and tonic usually has a little squeeze of lime in it. Here I went with a twist of lemon. It's interesting though. It is interesting. It has these moments when the lemon and the Irn Bru are working together very nicely, those lemon oils. It takes this like otherwise sweet, kind of almost cloying bubblegum note, and it injects it with a citrus, a lemony oil brightness that really kind of gives it dimension. It wakes it up and it expands it and puts like another note into it, so it starts to feel like a chord as opposed to a one-note song. I like that happening there. The gin is, sometimes it's very loud on a sip and sometimes it's quite invisible. I'm not really sure what's going on there. I don't hate it. It's just, it's very one-dimensional. I got the gin there. It tastes like a flavor of anger. I'm not in love with it. I don't think it's great. I brought mint just because I like to have as much stuff prepared for these sorts of episodes as I can. And I am wondering if there's like an Irn Bru mojito. I don't know why I'm wondering about that, because like a mojito already has soda in it. What if we took some light rum, which is not really a thing, and we mixed it with Irn Bru and mint, and maybe some lime. Palo Viejo, gotta use it sometime. Very cheap rum. All right, let's try an Irn Bru mojito. So I'm gonna take a couple of sprigs of mint here, and I'm going to fill up my glass. This one might actually be good for the garnish piece. There we go. Let's get some lime. Half an ounce or an ounce? I don't know. It's only a half an ounce. I'm gonna do another lime, and wherever we land, I think. These are kind of small limes, so I bet we'll be shy of a whole ounce, but that's all right. Oh, maybe not. 1 ounce of lime juice, some mint. This glass and all of the glasses on How to Drink are provided by Whiskey, the official glassware provider of How to Drink. I like their glasses. They like my show. We got together, had a nice time. And if you need glassware for your bar or for the holidays or for whatever, use the link in the pin comment below or up here in the corner. Use code HowToDrink15 at checkout. You're gonna get 15% off of your entire order from Whiskey Glassware. Thank you, Whiskey. 1.5 ounces of Palo Viejo, because it's the cheap rum that I have. I don't do a lot of stuff with spears anymore, but there we are. I'm gonna stir up what's in there. And here we go, a little Irn Bru. We're gonna top her up. When you do this, you don't wanna actually hit the ice. That's kind of a Japanese bartending rules. You don't want your soda that you pour in to touch the ice on its way down, because it off gases and it foams up and everything like that. There's a bit of formal pageantry to that, the way it's done in Japanese bartending, but it's not a bad idea. You kind of don't want to do it anyway. All right, here we go, an Irn Bru mojito. That's fun, I like that a lot. People are gonna assume, Greg, you just like rum. Things with rum in it, you like them. It could be partly that. No, it's not though, really. The tanginess of the lime and the mint are really always wonderful bedfellows. They go together so well. They attack the sides of your tongue in a really pleasant way. They brighten the drink, they freshen the drink. Everything feels so cool and so wonderful and so, The rum, the Palo Viejo, kind of disappears in here. That's kind of what we want in our mojitos usually. But the Irn Bru, and that's all we're doing here, swapping soda for Irn Bru, plain carbonated water for Irn Bru. The Irn Bru is bringing sufficient sweetness, good. We don't need to worry about the fact that we took out our simple syrup, but it's also bringing the Irn Bru flavor. And if the rum was bringing a lot of flavor, I think that we would lose some of that. The Irn Bru here, the mint, lime, and bubblegummy nature of the Irn Bru, and it's a little transformed in this drink, are actually pretty cool. There's like a different thing happening here. I don't love the color. I think the color looks weird for a mojito. Looks kind of nuclear or something, but maybe that's not the worst. I think it's great. I think it's really cool. It's not that different from a mojito, but it's a little different. I don't hate it at all. I mean, more than not hating it, I would finish this. This is fine. The Irn Bru on its own, the soda, a little bit underwhelming, but here, when it comes to the four mixing with the lime and the mint, it really does have an almost sophisticated kind of flavor profile. It really wakes it up and expands the flavor profile into another couple of dimensions. And why does it come to the fore? Well, sometimes it comes to the fore because it foams up in your mouth. A quick shot off the straw, it foams up in your mouth, and all of a sudden now, all of those Irn Bru flavors are up in your sinuses and your nose, everything like that. It changes the whole thing. Some sips are gonna be much more gentle, and you're not gonna get that quite the same. When you wake this thing up in your mouth, it does reward you for it. I think that's cool. Okay, so lime juice and Irn Bru go nicely together. In fact, let's just drill in on that idea. Let's just do a quick bit of research here. Of course, I just broke my rule. Don't pour straight onto the ice. Let's just do an Irn Bru with lime. I bet Irn Bru and lime on its own, hey, you know, sometimes when you get a Coca-Cola, you get a twist of lemon on the side of it, or maybe Irn Bru could be kind of the same thing. Would you like the twist of lime that goes in an Irn Bru? I don't think it would be a bad idea. Let's find out how just Irn Bru and lime is, and if that basic idea opens up some more cocktails. It does. That's cool. Irn Bru on its own doesn't have enough acid in it, and specifically malic acid. If it's only citric acid in the Irn Bru, and it is, that's a kind of a one-dimensional acid. It's 1/2 of what's in, or maybe 2/3 of what's in a lime, for example. By adding a lime, we're adding more citric, of course, but we're also adding some malic acid and a few other things as well. Probably some of the essential oils off the peeler winding up in there. It does add a lot of dimensionality to this. It wakes it up. I don't think I would ever, personally, I don't think I would ever, not that I'm going around ordering Irn Brus all the time. Now that I've had it this way, I don't think I'd ever want it without the lime. And you still get all of that Irn Bru flavor, all of those bubblegummy kinds of notes. It's just cooler. What I know about lime is that it likes gin and it doesn't like scotch or whiskey or bourbon. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna try it. But now that we've got a little lime in here, let's try a splash of gin. I have no idea how much Irn Bru is in my glass. I just did, I think, a 1.5 ounce pour of gin. Looked about right. Let's just try gin, Irn Bru, and lime. Should have done that before, but I didn't. That's fine. That's much better than without it when I did it with the lemon twist. This is much preferred. I don't know that you're getting a whole lot of Irn Bru and gin. I think that they're kind of both disappearing. Maybe that's the ideal. You want the sum to be more than the, you want the thing to be more than the sum of its parts. It's a mild gin mixer kind of cocktail. It's not gonna blow your mind. I really wanna try and come up with one really good, mind-blowing Irn Bru drink, because when we did the Moxie, some of that stuff that came out of that was so good to me. It was really, really incredible. This is gonna be the trick though, is that we still want it to be Irn Bru. If I start adding a lot of other ingredients into this, is it still gonna taste like Irn Bru? That is the question. How can we very carefully do this? Okay, let's think here. This might be the dinger. All right, La Gritona, a Reposado Tequila, Irn Bru, lime. I want one more modifier in there. I actually think this would go well with the Tajin. I do have some Tajin around here somewhere. Tajin, tequila, Irn Bru. I want a modifier in there as well. Something a little bit earthy, maybe a little bit like an Amaro, something in that space. What do I got? I want to mix it up. I always use the same stuff. Let's mix it up. We're gonna use Averna as an Amaro. Okay, I'm gonna fill this up, well, no, I'm not gonna fill this up with ice. I'm going to rim this glass first. Get your Tajin out. It's funny, so many people love Tajin, and I don't have anything against it, but I actually find it to be, I don't know, I have yet to really put it on a drink and be like, oh yeah, that's what this was missing. But I feel like this might be the one. So I'm gonna rim this with Tajin. When you rim a glass, you rub the outside with lemon or lime, usually lime, and then you dash it in like that. You don't want to just dip, it's not best practice to just dip the whole glass straight down in there, because you don't actually want the rim inside of the drink. You don't want the stuff you're putting on the rim in the drink. You want it on the outside. One of the better rim jobs I've ever given. Shake, shake, shake. Now, yes. Yeah, I'm gonna shake this drink, even though honestly, there's not really any components that need to be shook, but basically because it'll make it easier to pour around and past the Tajin rim than doing it another way. So let's start with 1 ounce of our lime juice. All right, 1 ounce of lime juice. Let's do 1/2 ounce of our Amaro. 2 ounces of our tequila. Anything else going in there? Maybe some bitters. No, the Amaro probably does that, right? No, I think we leave that. I think we leave that. We don't need sweetness because we're gonna get it from the Irn Bru. All right, let's crack all this ice up. want to crack all of my ice on this one because I'm planning to not strain this when I pour. So I didn't measure this in a way that would leave room for the Irn Bru. I'm stopping here. I'm going to fill this up with the Irn Bru the rest of the way, but there's still some drink left. So that's about 50-50 cocktail to mixer to Irn Bru. I think we're going to be in good shape here. Here we are, whatever this is. That's pretty full. That's pretty cool. I like that. So, I like that a lot. The Tajin sorry. Tajin is so tangy. There is so much powdered citric acid in it, but that's like the primary flavor component. I always want it to be smokier and spicier, but it's really salty and tangy to my mouth. It is smoky and spicy, but not nearly as much as it's tangy and salty. That actually goes really well with our lime and Irn Bru blend. The smoky, spicy, tangy, salty Irn Bru is really lovely. It's lively too. It is an awake, fun thing. I don't know how else to explain it. It feels almost like the basis of like some kind of a tiki mixer, like a Don's mix. You know, like there's so much going on in that combination. Like it's like a gardenia mix. It's not like a gardenia mix because gardenia mix is a buttery kind of honey floral thing, but it's like that in the sense that it's a package of flavors that is so robust that it's enough to build a drink around. And you get this carbonation and it wakes up the tequila. This is not a particularly loud tequila. It's not a mezcal or something like that. It's a nice tequila. It has these buttery vegetal agave notes, exactly what you want from a reposado tequila in my opinion. Here, they are nested inside of this really robust flavor package. The one thing that I would say is not very represented here is the Averna, and I'm not sure that Averna was the right choice. I actually think now, tasting this, that what I really wanted was a bar spoon of Fernet Branca. Fernet Branca is a way, in my opinion, to get a whole lot of bitterness out of a tiny amount of ingredient. Why don't you use Angostura bitters, Greg? Angostura bitters are not as bitter as Fernet Branca, and they bring a whole lot of other spices and flavors all of their own. Sure, so does Fernet Branca, but Fernet Branca, to me, in a cocktail, primarily brings a dry, rooty bitterness. So here we go, we're gonna do a bar spoon of that. And no, for future reference, I don't know that that means you can omit the Averna. The Averna is certainly bringing a certain amount of sweetness here. It does not taste like an overly sweet drink, however. Although, caveat, I've been drinking a lot of soda, so you know my mouth is full of Irn Bru. But I feel like this is going to ground this drink a lot. I like that. I like that a lot. A bar spoon might be too much. Maybe a half a bar spoon, maybe a dash. Maybe if I had a dash or top on here, I would have done something smaller. But in essence, I really like what's happening now with the Tajin and the Fernet and the Irn Bru, and wow, what a cosmopolitan drink. We're in South America, we're in Mexico, we're in Scotland, we're in Italy, we're all over the place with this one. This is a Four Corners. In fact, I've just decided we're gonna call this drink the Four Corners. I've done that name elsewise and I'm forgetting what it is now. So I should call this something else. This is a, I don't know, I can't go anywhere. It's a drawn and quartered. It's a drawn and quartered. I feel like now it needs a blood. It needs visually, it needs to have some blood in there, but that's okay. No, it's a between the tides. To be buried between the tides. Drawn, quartered, and buried between the tides. There it is, a between the tides. All right, the bitterness, the spiciness, the tanginess, the saltiness. The Irn Bru bringing in these other notes that are coming to the fore now, more so the caffeine, the bitterness of the caffeine. The quinine is coming out now. And yeah, some of those sweet bubblegum notes, and the tequila, who first off and most importantly is not getting in the way of anything else in this drink, right? Like a Scotch would compete. The tequila is easygoing, it wants to be in here. A mezcal would compete, but the tequila likes being in here. But the tequila is bringing in more of these vegetal notes, these herbal notes. And altogether, it's a pretty cool and refreshing drink. Do I think a sprig of mint would go nicely here? Yeah, I think a sprig of mint would be nice, but I only have a couple left and I'm gonna hold on to them for a minute. I think this is pretty neat. I think this could be on a cocktail menu at a lot of bars. Not a lot of bars. I think this could be, you know, if you've been to New York, there are some irreverent cocktail bars doing weird things. I think this belongs on the menu of one of those. It is a weird things kind of a drink, and I don't think anybody who ordered it would be disappointed. I think that you would be pretty happy with this. Greg, why don't you use a straw? That drink's full of ice. Because it's got a rim, and that means you have to drink it without a straw. I hate seeing a drink with a rim and a straw in it. You have to pick one. You don't get to do both. You have to pick one. That's a rule. And you do get some of those bubblegum notes at the very tail there. Ooh, that was fun. So I gotta tell you that How to Drink is brought to you by viewers like you who have chosen to support my Patreon. I think you should check it out. I think there's probably something over there you like because obviously you like the show and you want it to keep going, and the Patreon is the key to doing that. You're gonna get access to these episodes without advertisements on them. You're gonna get access to bonus cocktails, which I'm gonna do in this episode, I think. You're gonna get access to behind the scenes looks, things that I'm developing for the show. I always talk about that. I always talk about the Discord. The Discord is very popular, but I have something new I could talk about, and I've been hinting about it, and that is this, the How to Drink app, which is very primitive because I built it. But I know that a lot of you, or at least some of you, are using this show as your own personal cocktail guide. Well, there's something like 450 episodes of How to Drink, and many of those episodes, most of them at this point, have more than one drink in them, so there are thousands of How to Drink cocktails, and it occurs to us, how do you find what you're looking for if you want to make that drink that I made in that episode that you can't really remember? Well, I've been building this app. You're looking at version 0.9. It's not quite version 1. I am still adding the features to it. It is not quite feature complete. There is a back end of the database, the cocktail database. Meredith and I are populating that. I think there are now 300 cocktails in there at the time of filming this. There's gonna be a lot more. It's gonna go faster and faster now that I can direct more attention towards that. But it is functioning, and you can use it to find the drinks that you're trying to find. You can use it to recall an episode that I made that had those drinks in it. It's there. I was talking about it on a live stream the other day. It seemed like there was a lot of interest around it. So if you want access to that, that is going to be a patron exclusive at the $5 level. I hope that that's cool to you because I've worked my ass off on it. I've been working on almost nothing else, and I'm not done working on it. That will continue. Right now it's very much a work in progress. I want to get all of the features in there. I want to get the back end fully built out so that we have the full data set, and then there are some design things I want to do to it to make it prettier and add more features to it. So get in on the app, man. And also it would be helpful to me to see you stress test it. So there's a few things that we have to work on with this, and you would be of great assistance. Actually, I said I did it myself, but I've done it with a lot of help from some people I call the Brain Trust over in our Discord. So thank you to everybody in the Discord. And if you have some good ideas, why don't you meet me in the Discord? None of this would be possible without you. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. Thank you. Here's a, what did I name this? Oh yes, a Between the Tides. Feels like it should be a reference to Between the Sheets with that name, but I'm sticking with it. It's Between the Tides. It's really good. It's fun. It gets tastier all the time. Yeah, people would like that. There's definitely, I don't know if it's just the visual element of it being orange colored. No, it's probably the citric acid. Let's say it has some like orange notes in there. I need a name for this. It's funny, I used to think, oh, I don't need a name, but now that I'm building the app, I feel like I do need names. It helps the app. This was a mojito variation that used Irn Bru. What the hell does mojito translate to? The word mojito is derived from the Spanish word mojo, which means a little spell, or possibly a sauce in some contexts. Mojito could be loosely translated to mean a little spell or something with a bit of magic. Oh, I like that. We'll call this a Glamour. Oh, I like that a lot, actually. I like that quite a bit. That's very nice. The Glamour is very good. Spelt with an O-U-R, Meredith. All right, one more. All right, well, I feel like I gotta go back to Scotch. Some people who are very, very, very precious about their Scotches and their whiskeys are gonna be annoyed that I'm about to use some Lafroig. I don't have the Glasgow blend. I need to buy some more Glasgow blend. And until then, this is my Isla. So we got smoke, we got citrus and bubblegum. We need, let's try lemon. We need some lemon. We need some kind of extra acidity here. We've proven that lime works well. Let's see if lemon will work well. And I think we need some bottom notes because it's a lot of this is very high notes. We have a lot of smoke. We have a lot of acid. We have a lot of this bubblegum thing. That's all happening up here in the flavor spectrum. It's in the higher frequencies. We need something in the bottom frequencies, a little bit of some stuff to ground it, and we've already done Verna Branca and Averna. I could do Amaro de Angostura. I could do Bogarts. I just happen to be looking at it. Bogarts would be great. Bogarts is a historic style of bitters. It is called for in the version of the improved whiskey cocktail that I have in print, although that also, it's either Bogarts or Bokers, and I have a bottle of Bokers as well. But Bogarts is what I want here. It's a, let's call it an antiquarian version of something like an Angostura bitters. Let's say that's what it is. It's more bitter than Angostura. It is a richer, deeper, maybe even angrier flavor. Angostura is a very friendly flavor. This is an angry flavor. I'm gonna put it into this stemware. Normally you would never do such a thing with a drink that's got soda in it that's basically gonna be a highball, but this particular glass is so large that I know I can fit a full highball in there. We said lemon, let's do lemon. Perfect. 1 ounce of lemon juice. Let's do a 1/4 ounce of our Bogarts. Yeah, maybe something closer to 1/8 even. Let's do 1.5 ounces of Lafroig. Honestly, I think that's it. I think that's about it. Should we add mint to this? No, we should not. We should not. Let's shake that up. Looks like mud. Ugh. Okay. Color-wise, I'm not loving that, but that's okay. And then we'll top it up with some Irn Bru. There's something fun about that, isn't that? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That is fun. That's really cool. Okay, let's see how this crazy thing is. Ooh, man, that's got that smell. That's got that shoe leather Lafroig smell. Yeah. Nope, not for me. No good. No bueno. Do not like. Yeah. Ooh, nope. That's gonna give me a migraine. I can't drink any more of that. That is a tangy, iodine, highly phenylated, smoky heap of nightmares. I am sorry, I don't like that at all. Oh my God, that might have given me a migraine in one sip. The smoky spirits, the Islay and the mezcals can really trigger some headaches for me. And I gotta be careful with them. It's like literally 50-50. This might be the bad 50. I don't feel good now immediately. So, I don't recommend that drink. And I don't, I'm naming it an ill-fated misadventure. That is the name of that cocktail. Do not attempt an ill-fated misadventure. It is a beguiling girl who will lead you astray. I don't want it. Well, that's, I don't feel good. That's it for Irn Bru. I would love to know if you have ideas for what I could do with Irn Bru otherwise, or what is done with it in Scotland, because surely teenagers are mixing it with spirits. Probably just vodka, honestly. Irn Bru and vodka is probably fine. You can do that. You don't need a show to tell you that. Irn Bru is cool. It's not as weird as people told me it was gonna be. You know, I gotta tell you, I've had weirder sodas. You're not all that Scotland. You're not that strange with your Irn Bru, okay? I defy you. Come over here and try yourself some Moxie. Moxie is fucking weird by comparison. Irn Bru is nice. It's fine. It is weird that it's the most popular soda in Scotland, but it's not that weird of a soda. I'm gonna do the bonus drink for patrons right now, and if that's the kind of thing that interests you, well, click the link in the pin comment below or up here in the corner and check out my Patreon. Until then, I will see you in another episode of How to Drink.